The horrors of September 11th, 2001
I knew in the back of my mind, nobody's coming out of there. There's nothing left.
will always be with those who witnessed the destruction of the terrorist attacks that day.
I think it was unspoken by many people there that we weren't going to find anybody.
You were always hoping for that one pocket.
Yeah.
And it just never came.
Retired NYPD officer Harold Delancey, retired Sergeant Gary Penny, and retired Sergeant Robert Hill all responded to the attacks at the World Trade Center that day and following efforts.
Yeah, I ended up at the Bellevue morgue for about 4 months. That's where they brought whatever came from the site to the morgue. And usually it was a body bag and you had to open it up. Sometimes you'd find a ring, a watch, a chain. So just try to identify whoever was in the bag as best you could.
You all right?
Putting together a puzzle of victims' lives.
It's a very hard thing to explain to people on 3,000 people literally disappearing that day.
Through shredded debris of pieces even years later.
Especially for the firefighters, just their bunker gear. That's the only thing that was recovered was their jacket, and they ID'd by their name that's painted on the jacket.
From the attacks through recovery efforts, thousands were exposed to toxic chemicals.
When you were digging, you were standing in
that toxic slush.
In the toxic slush.
And it was soaked into your feet.
And it's just eating away people's feet now too. So let's add that to the list.
441 first responders lost their life that day, and thousands of others were murdered or injured in the attacks.
Somebody's been murdered every day since that has passed away from the initial, attack.
Data from the World Trade Center Health Program shows the number of first responders and civilians diagnosed with 9/11 related cancers has grown close to 49,000 people, around a 143% increase in the last 5 years.
Somebody you haven't seen or heard from in 15, 20 years just passed away. You're like, oh my God, I worked with a guy. What did he pass away from? Oh, 9/11 cancer.
It might have happened 24 years ago, but I live it every day. And it's like, I have a cough and I'm like, is this the one that's gonna be the one that's gonna be the death sentence?
Gary, Harold, and Robert all have health concerns and cancer from their response efforts to 9/11.
What people don't understand is there was also outside the civilians that were there.
Yeah.
All those people who worked down there were asked to come back to work, and they were back to work very soon after 9/11.
Are you guys concerned that this is going to be a battle that you're going to continue to fight to get this funding, to get your prescriptions?
Unfortunately, it's all about the money. And it's not just a strain on us, it's a strain on our families. Everybody's like, you guys are heroes, you're the best, thank you for doing that. But then after it happens, nobody gives a crap. And we're gonna cut funding here and there and make you guys really suffer more.
They both have prostate cancer. They don't test for that.
They wouldn't give me a PSA test for a 9/11 related injury. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's one of the premier cancers that men are getting post 9/11 is prostate cancer. It's not tested on your annual.
They say not only does it feel like a new cancer is added to the list to be concerned about regularly.
And now they're asking us, when you go for your annuals, make sure they check your feet for skin cancer.
They say they struggle with support for their illnesses and often run into issues with prescriptions.
It was easier to deal with the cancer than to deal with Sedgwick, which is the company that's supposed to pay the bills.
We have several members in our club that are in collections for medical reasons from the third-party billing of that's supposed to be for our health care.
They are part of the Raleigh Chapter 1013 Association, a national organization and nonprofit.
Just helping fellow officers. And we're not just NYPD guys, like Bobby said. Any law enforcement is welcome. Once a cop, always a cop. And you always just take care of each other.
Place to lean on one another.
It helps quite a bit because I never discussed any of my issues with my wife. I just didn't want to bring it home.
And advocate for their health.
And there's been a couple guys that I've said, guys, it's just a blood test, get it done. And a couple of guys that come up to me already and said, mine were elevated, I have to go get a biopsy. And then the next club meeting, they're like, I have cancer.
Not only to have each other's six, but to make sure no one forgets the impacts of that day.
When I'm on a plane, I'm looking at the guy next to me like, if it goes down, you and I are doing what we have to do.
No matter the generation.
People who are young or born after 9/11 will never understand why the world has turned the way it has.
Yeah, my oldest granddaughter's 14, So I would think if they were teaching or mentioning 9/11 in school, she would have asked me something. And to date, she hasn't mentioned it.
And to honor those who were lost and those we continue to lose.
Every year they do the reading of the names. Sit through that without crying.
John P. Bergen.
Try it. It's impossible.
When they ring the bell, you realize that each name is obviously a person, but then you forget that that person then had a family. I feel that we're forgotten sometimes with the hoops that we have to go through just to hopefully live for our families.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.